I'm Aaron with the Behemoth, and I'm here at Comic-Con showing off our games, Castle Crashers and BattleBlock Theater.
So walk us through this booth and what you guys have playable here.
So we actually built a bunch of arcade cabinets a couple years ago. So we both have Castle Crashers on the double widescreen, maybe the way it should have been done years ago in the arcades, in a 7-Eleven or something. And then we also have BattleBlock Theater, and we got people playing either the arena modes where they're fighting each other, or the different co-op modes where they're helping each other get through the level and lifting each other up and throwing them in, hopefully into the next platform and hopefully not into spikes. But it's funny when they do, so.
When it comes to these games, just kind of give us a sense of what they're about for people that haven't played them yet.
Sure. So they're 2D side-scrolling, both of them. Castle Crashers is a 1 to 4 player beat 'em up that takes place ostensibly in the Crusades, but you do fight a giant catfish monster that looks like a cat, and there is a there's a giant bear monster that's got a part of a tribe, I don't know. So probably a little historically inaccurate, but the idea is you're running along and you're beating up a bunch of guys, and you're trying to take out the evil wizard, and it's sort of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the old Simpsons game, if you remember that back in the day. So that was on XBLA, that was our first big hit. And then BattleBlock Theater, you're running through a prison that is being run by thousands of cats. And the prison has been turned into a theater, and you're performing for their amusement. So you're trying to collect gems that you then bribe them to release your fellow prisoners, and you're trying to save your very best friend, Hattie Haddington, who has been possessed by an evil top hat. So the story it'll make sense, maybe not. It's funny though. The narration's great, and just the things that happen when you're playing, especially when you're playing cooperatively, and like I said before, you mean to throw your buddy onto a platform, but they get a face full of spikes. It's probably the funniest game we've made, just from what happens.
Where do you guys draw inspiration from for this humor?
So, like a lot of other developers, we're up until 2 in the morning, and you get a little slap happy, and just weird, funny ideas just kind of end up in the game. And unlike other places where maybe somebody would have taken them out and said, "Oh, you can't do that." Well, you know what? We're gonna keep the deer that is propelled by him defecating through the level, and we're gonna have we had some placeholder art that was a giant shark that was a duck at first, and people laughed at it, so we just left the giant duck in instead and call him a shark. So it's that kind of unique humor you won't find in other games, because we have the flexibility and we're small and we have the option to do that.
What opportunities has digital distribution opened up for independent developers over the years?
Well, XBLA and on Steam and all these other platforms, iOS, the fact that we don't have to worry about getting it onto a disc and then into stores means we've been able to stay small, and that allows us to kind of keep focused on what we want to do, and we can stay flexible that way, and we can take the time we need to actually create games that we want to play and take them as far as we see them as being able to go. So BattleBlock Theater especially started as one thing, and it's sort of transformed over the years into the biggest game we've ever made. So being able to do that and then have it be a downloadable title just gets it into that many more hands, and we really probably couldn't have done that nearly as easily if we had to put it onto shelves somewhere. What
do you feel next gen will open up to you guys creatively?
So one of the things I saw that I liked on both Xbox One and on PlayStation 4 was the ability to stream what you're playing. And because our games are 2D and they're animated really smoothly, Dan Paladin does all our art, and it's very iconic, it's very pop art. And seeing the games in motion is really awesome, and being able to do that and share it more easily instead of there's a few people that do those. They do Let's Plays on YouTube. For everybody to be able to do that and share with all their friends, I think that's going to get the word out so much more especially for independent small developers like us.
And what's next for you?
We get started right away. Our last game, BattleBlock Theater, came out April 3rd, a couple months ago, and we just started prototyping right away. So we got a bunch of ideas, and as soon as we're sure what we're going to do, we don't want to disappoint anybody, but as soon as we know, we'll let everybody know, because the more feedback we get from the fans, the quicker we get to the final polished product. We take a lot of stock from their opinion, and we let them play at shows like this, and we just go back and then work all the harder from seeing what worked and what didn't work.